As we get into crossbreds here, we're going to start off with Tarinteno. We started off the crossbreds with him last year and feel it's still only fitting to start the crossbreds with him again. Tarinteno, I know I've said it to several people, and I'll repeat it. This is one of my absolute favorite boars to ever step foot on this farm. He is bred by Lackey Livestock. Pedigree is Family Ties, Secret Society Cookie. The breeding value in this hog is something I really can't be overstated. Skeleton is just absolutely as close to perfect as you can get in one. I think his hip and hind leg is as ideal as you can put in a boar these days, and just for correcting just for correcting issues and just making them good pattern and correct with the right kind of maturity. Just his versatility and his upside and potential for what he can accomplish is as high as any boar I can ever remember having here, just in terms of being able to use across the board on a biggest variety of sows and still ending up with very high-end stuff. So just some of his accomplishments. He obviously had just sired the Grand at Houston there this spring. And Matt will talk here in just a second. We went down there and got to watch the Grand Drive. That'll go down as one of my favorite barrows I've ever laid eyes on at a show. Very incredible, just incredible creature of a show barrow. And then several of those hogs that have won over the last couple years. And most of those hogs have just come out of a small population of just the sows that are sitting here because he has just recently kind of started to find a bigger, wider variety of sows across the country after that Houston barrow. So, he sired the fifth overall Gilt at Perry last year for us, and the fourth overall Gilt at Expo, and the third overall Purebred Influence Gilt at Summer Conference, and the reserve barrow at the Eastern Regional, I guess just approaching 2 years ago now. He sired the fourth overall barrow that Ogle raised at the Iowa State Fair last summer. Just what his ability is to do in the show ring has been proven and been able to be seen by everybody. But what is not probably as public for everybody to know is just how good those sows are in the crate and the job they do. We are approaching about 40 for 40 or 45 for 45 Farrell and Tarinteno daughters unassisted, which is just an absolute shot of breath air, of fresh air for us to be able to have females that are incredible to look at, that'll lay down and do their job in the crate. This boar has the ability on sows across the board to leave you a daughter that's better than her mother near every time you use him. So I can go on and on and on about the value I see in this hog, but he's just truly a proven generator with a flawless skeleton, leaves an amazing set of daughters, and just the upper end potential of those show hogs out of him, bears and gilts alike, is extremely high.
We're watching Tarinteno in the grass. I could sit and watch that hog all day, and I think maybe Mike and I had just a little inside track to him because we were seeing these females. The first females out of him grow up on the farm and then sorting them for our first couple of bred gilt sales. And yes, we put that hog out there and we told everybody we've got to get him used. You need to breed him to as many sows as you can. Maybe that didn't happen right out of the gate, but we kept seeing it and kept pushing. And then as we started breeding those females and starting to farrow them, just the more and more value continued to just show itself when it came to Tarinteno, and then the question got raised, by show pig breeders: can that hog make a barrow? We know he can make females. Can that one make a barrow? And then last summer, Ogle's barrow at Iowa hits, and then other ones across the country. Obviously, all the gilts. We kind of knew that was going to happen. And then at the pinnacle, obviously, would have been when Mike and I were able to be at Houston and watch that hog win that show, and just from the moment that we saw him from the first the night we were there by happenstance, happened to have seen him going to the scale, and I think both of us just amongst each other were speechless, and then to see him the next day after being maximized by that crew, just an ultimate animal, and one of the probably will be the best one that I've ever been able to put my eyes on. It just proves, to say all that, it proves the quality that this boar can do and what he can, the different landscapes that he can cover. We just think that hog is just flat that good in terms of his skeleton. He's just that good in terms of his body cavity. He's got the type of stoutness and the type of design and skull to make barrows. He's got the looseness of skeleton to make females. And maybe above all, he has the maturity that these hogs, I think, need to have, the kind that we like to feed in terms of being able to feed them and let them grow and make them do things. And maybe that, when it's all said and done, maybe that'll be the most valuable thing that hog has done, not just for us, but for an industry. I said it last year at the open house, if you have 5 sows in heat, you need to at least breed one to Tarinteno. Doesn't matter what color they are. Doesn't matter the type and kind that they are. That's the kind of belief that we have in Tarinteno, and we haven't stopped breeding sows to him. That's one of those things where yes, we have a lot of Tarinteno females, but we are not going to stop breeding sows to him. We could have 100 of them and still probably not feel whole in terms of what this hog can do for us. So. There again, Mike said we can talk about him for the rest of the day, but this is just a quality piece of livestock that is one of the better ones that's ever to stand here. We think that he's done a lot of good things, but this hog's still got a lot to do yet to write his story to the end. So Tarinteno, that one's going to earn a headstone here at Real McCoy.
Yeah, and back to a little bit more on what this hog has done. I know we mentioned the couple barrows there, but he also sired the champion Yorkshire barrow at San Antonio last year and sired the champion lightweight at Houston last year. So there are still more of those barrows that have popped up. He's not just a female sire that has had a couple good barrows pop up. Those barrows pop up fairly frequently out of him as well. One term that does fit those hogs is just true feedability and ability to mature into good big ones. And back before I move off of him, I do get the question often, where does he work best? And I will tell you that my common answer that I'll give you there is when for the sake of early sellability in pigs, use them on sows that are kind of medium sized and more muscular. That's kind of his place for early sellability. Just for making your hogs good, use them on your best sows. He has the ability to just sire that kind of pattern and let your sow kind of determine your extremes. But on your good sows, he will just leave you incredible daughters. So there's not a place of specific sort to watch him on actual weaknesses, but for the sake of just early sellability, take him to sows that have got a shot of that. And that is going to be kind of your place. He does have the ability to work on some of those extreme pieces that maybe just don't balance just right and be able to make one out of those kind. He's been able to do that and sire hogs at a very high level on multiple places.